Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's the wee morning hours of January 30th, 2017. And this stuff just, if you're like me, maybe most of you aren't, but if you're like me, I'm constantly trying to evaluate, trying to understand what in the world is going on. Well, we had the Prime Minister of Britain here, May, and things looked like they were kind of going in a good direction. And then, no sooner does she get back, or maybe she isn't back, but somehow gets influenced to go back on this whole idea of standing against radical Islam, ISIS, and the whole situation with the migrant problem. I don't want to call them migrants, they're invaders, okay? At the behest of Western governments, pushed by Saudi Arabia. It's interesting, we keep calling Iran our enemy, but Saudi Arabia is the central place for Sunnis and Wahhabists. The Shiites are nothing compared to the Wahhabists and Sunnis as far as, the things they do, the bad things. But tonight I just had to tweet out a little commentary on this whole thing with the Prime Minister of Britain seeming to have less influence or less moxie than the Muslim mayor of London. Very sinister things going on here. And, I could sit here and start talking about, I even heard Alex Jones say, this is of biblical proportions, everything that's going on. I'm going to say some things here just in regards to this thing with Britain. And who in the world, of all the world leaders, are standing up against the New World Order? And I'd like to say radical Islam, but I know too much about Islam to say that it's just radical Islam. The entire religion is a front for a political movement to take over the world, and not for good reasons. Islam means submission more than it means peace. It means you accept our domination or you die. I brought this up a long time ago. You get three choices under Islam. You either convert, you pay a tax, or you die. That's basically it. Perfect New World Order religion, a perfect structure to build a religion on for the entire world that requires submission to a world authority. Whoa. Well, getting back to this other thing. Out of all the leaders in the world, there are only two that are standing together against the New World Order and against what's going on in Islam, and particularly ISIS. Only two. All of the others are waffling all over the place. You never know where they're going to land, like May, Prime Minister of Britain. One minute, we're going to do something about this, and the next thing she backs off on it. There are sinister forces at work. Saudi money, Soros, the Rothschilds, the devil himself, it seems. And these people keep bowing down to it, with the exception of two. And you know who they are. President Trump and President Putin of Russia. Well, I keep pondering on this. What's going on here? And I'm trying to fit it into some of the historical and some of the prophetic understandings that I have, knowing some of the plans of the secret societies from the 1800s and how this all fits in. And nothing ever works out exactly the way you think, because, as I pointed out, even if you believe in biblical prophecy, just like with Nineveh and Jonah, it's contingent on a number of things that happen. There are different paths that can occur depending upon what happens, what the people choose, where they go. I won't belabor that, because I know there's some people out there that really don't want to hear about that. But historically, okay, whether you believe in, the demon that we call Lucifer or not, there are people in the world, those in the New World Order, the upper elites, who do believe it. And I've said that before, and you've heard that before. So taking all of this into consideration, why is it that only Putin and Trump are steadfast against the New World Order and Islam? Why? Well, I could conjecture about a lot of things, but I'm not going to do that here, believe it or not. I just want to point it out. There's something significant about this. I always thought that Britain would stand with the United States against evil. I always thought they would. Now I'm reevaluating some of the things I've read and studied, trying to look at it from another direction. It might not be that at all. As a matter of fact, I'm almost wondering if some of the things I know about were written not from the position of the good side, but trying to put us into the mind of the bad side so that we'd understand how they're thinking. I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm kind of reversing some of my interpretations of things, trying to put my head into the mind of the evil ones. And I do that anyway. I think we all do to some extent. We all have a light side and a dark side, and which one you feed, is the one that comes out. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Or what wolf you feed. It's an old Native American saying. What wolf you feed, that's the one that's going to come out. So, but I'm thinking that this is very significant, that only Putin and Trump are making this stand. Everyone else waffles or isn't sure where they are, or they're almost neutral, complacent, like doesn't make any difference. When it does, it's the future of not just the world but mankind and liberty, life itself. So I'll leave that with you. I just felt like I had to just kind of vent that a little bit. There's something very, very special, very ominous, red flags, that there are only two world leaders standing up against all of this. And those guys are receiving a lot of difficulty from within their own nations. Look what Trump's going through. I mean, and probably the best illustration of the demons that are on the left, and I'm using that just for illustrative purposes. Look at the Women's March in D.C. last week. How vile so much of it was. I'm not saying everybody that was there was involved in that, but how vile it was. The attacks, the assaults, the profanity, the disgusting displays. And I won't define all of that. You probably know what I'm talking about. You look at that and how many there were involved in and how many people support that. And then you look at those who were there, the other Women's March for Life. No profanity, they didn't burn anything, didn't break anything, weren't doing horrible, disgusting things. By their fruits you will know them. It's being plainly manifest for us, even in things like that. Even in things like that. And I have to tell this story. I just have to. You know, I was talking, I won't be real specific, but I was talking to this lady today. And, you know, she was asking me, well, you know, she's married, okay? She's saying she was doing some work for me. And she says, well, you know, do you ever think you'll find another lady? And I said, well, you know, there are a lot of problems with that at this point. But, you know, if you know somebody between, you know, 45 and 60, you know, or 62, you know, something like that, you know, yeah, you know, if you think that I'd be, you know, a possibility for somebody, you know, sure, step in there and do it. And she says, well, how about somebody younger? Would you go down, you know, like a 20-something? I went, well, you know, there are some people that have made that successful. Charlie Chaplin, when he was somewhere in his 60s, married a 20-something who stayed with him the rest of his life. Of course, he had a lot of money to leave her. And then I mentioned to her, well, and then there's Trump and Melania. You know, Trump's 70 and Melania is like 47. And all of a sudden it jumped off the topic of the conversation. And what did she say? I don't like Trump. Out of the blue. There is a problem here. And even good people are being deceived. Maybe because they want to be. So I'll end this again by saying, why is it? And I tweeted this out. You can go look at it on Twitter. And there it is on the screen. My spot is at Royston Potter. And I'll leave this with you again. And I tweeted this out here just, I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes ago, something like that. Why is it that only Putin and Trump, two out of the entire world, are standing together against the evils of the NWO and Islam? Why? Out here for now.